This week's episode of Weekly Tech Update is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at audibletrial.com/WTU. There are now well over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Windows Phone, or your Kindle. Good day and welcome to episode number 348 of Weekly Tech Update for March 8th, 2016. In this episode, we are discussing There is no love for Apple from the Oculus, Epic Games is not impressed with Microsoft, and I ring, you ring, we all ring for iRing. Stay tuned for those stories and more here on your Weekly Tech Update. Man, it has been I'm old. LAN party recovery still happening here at BCC HQ South. I'm Benjamin Hyde.
And broadcast down the road from BCC Hardware South there, I'm Jason Schneider.
I guess it doesn't help the fact that you're running like 1.5 full-time jobs, so you just don't have recovery time.
Yeah, no, it's not like the old days where when you had the LAN party, you could sleep for 2 days afterwards. So
yeah, no, I had a service call. It was supposed to be from 9 to noon, 9 to 1 maybe. It was 9 to 1, but 1 a.m., 9 a.m. to 1 a.m.
AM, PM, what's the big difference?
I am too old for that, but
it's if the upgrade doesn't finish after midnight, you're doing something wrong.
Well, I did 8 upgrades and pulled apart some those horrible. There's no service manual or even teardown for a Panasonic Toughbook tablet. They do not exist.
Wow.
So yeah, unless you pay Panasonic, and I mean, come on, I can figure it out eventually.
Yeah, I mean, it might take you all afternoon and all evening, but no, you got it.
Actually, the first one probably took about an hour to tear down. After that, I could tear them down, replace everything. It includes tearing the motherboard out of the thing, like stripped right down, RAM replacement back together, 15 minutes. So it was first one was definitely a learning curve, but it was good.
So what happened to the other 12 hours then?
Another 8 systems, SSD migration on 8 systems. So it was a big day. Either way,
fun.
Yeah, I'm tired. I come home this afternoon. I just laid down. I'm done.
Nothing wrong with a nap.
No, not for little kids. Not for young men like myself.
We just need more siestas. I think that's the problem with the world today.
I agree. Well, Jay, there's not tons of news this week, but there's a couple of interesting stories.
Yeah, I guess March isn't a busy month this year. Usually, this is kind of when stuff's coming out, stuff that was promised in December, January. But no, other than a couple little stories, it was a pretty quiet week for whatever reason, which I guess is a good thing if you're one of the companies. Bad thing if you're trying to post news. But regardless, we got to. It's not the quantity; it's the quality, right?
That's right. Yeah. And I spent like I said, a day, about a 14-hour, 15-hour service call, doing upgrades, moving a client from mechanical drives on all their systems to SSDs, upgrade to Windows 10. And so I'm upgrading these like weeny little 500 gig drives, which aren't bad for SSDs. I mean, they're actually very cost effective right now. But look here and see that Samsung is now shipping the world's high capacity SSD, 15 terabytes of technically not quite as much as that when it's formatted, but still.
Yeah, 15. Once it formats, you're going to be you're only going to have about 15.36 terabytes.
Yeah. Well.
Oh no, sorry, no, that's not right. That's that was one of their testing things here. Can't remember how much it actually comes out to.
It's
I obviously don't have one, so I can't tell you from first-hand knowledge.
Yeah.
Not yet. I'm hoping. But
it's crazy, and not only the storage capacity, but the way they do it, the wear leveling and the MLC and TLC NAND flash they use. I mean, this is a high capacity long term drive. They're saying it can write 2 to 10 times as much data as typical SSDs. I mean, this thing is built for a server market. There's no question about it.
Well, you probably can't afford this. The amazing thing is that it comes in a 2.5-inch form factor.
Right.
So it's not even your 3.5-inch form factor, which is your normal mechanical spinning hard drive. This is like your SSD form. Like it's pretty incredible. They're doing some fancy Well, they're doing their 3D NAND technology. They're stacking dies on top of each other. Basically, they're just, yeah, it's pretty amazing what they're actually able to accomplish. Now, how much is it going to cost you? Probably a lot. Probably you don't want to know the price. They're not putting the price in here for a reason. But they will have this is the 15.36 terabyte model. They're going to do a 7.6, a 3.8, 1.9, 960 gig, and a 480 gig version. All of these are, of course, going to be aimed at the enterprise market just because they're expensive and also because they offer the features. They can be written to many more times than your normal consumer level drives. So these are definitely a high-end drive. But the technology is there. You can put one of these in your laptop and...
it's a thick drive. It's probably not going to fit in your Ultra Bay.
You can make it fit.
I would try. I might have to raise my keyboard out a little bit, but I would try.
It does need a 12 gigabyte per second SAS interface.
Yeah, so it's not your.
But if your laptop has that interface, you're set.
Well, a lot of motherboards have a couple of SAS ports anymore.
I don't know if it's 12 gigabyte per second.
Probably not, but either way.
I'm assuming that's probably not your $300 laptop. Probably can't support this, but
either way,
I would say it's probably
1200 megabit per second is what you're getting for throughput.
That's all,
which is impressive for a cable connected drive. Like those NVMe drives that are PCI Express direct connects. I mean, they can reach better speeds, a little bit better than that, but still, that's not made for an array, right? Where these are built to put into a drive array, it's a storage array, and you've got incredible amounts of storage.
Yeah,
that is blistering fast. This would be great for database. Someone who's building a huge database server needs a bunch of these.
Oh yeah, this would be pretty amazing if you could hook up, a dozen of these things. It's pretty crazy because, I mean, they don't take a lot of space.
Nope, that's right. 48 layer, by the way, 3D NAND chips, which is incredible. They went from,
Yeah, but then I think they stack two on top of each other.
Exactly.
I think that's what they're doing. So
but the chips are 48 either way. From your people are concerned about, your 2-level or your triple level MLCs. Now you got 48 level 3D NAND. It's insane.
This makes my 20 gig spinning hard drive that I broke out of retirement to bring to the LAN party look pretty sad.
It does.
I think I got the award for the worst system because somebody was like, "Hey, yeah, I want to come," and I was like, "Well, what do you want to play?" And they're like, "I want to play Call of Duty 4." I was like, "Well, that's easy." So I broke out a archaic system which had a 20 gig spinning hard drive. And
really? So you're not kidding about that 20 gig drive?
I know, I'm not kidding. It was
amazing.
It was pretty amazing, yeah. Yeah.
I was hoping
there was going to be a prize for worst system brought because...
Yeah, you might have won.
I don't think anybody else has run anything that rough.
20 gig hard drive, Voodoo 3 graphics.
No, it wasn't that sad, but it wasn't much more impressive than that either. So.
Either way, well...
Yeah. Anyways, we can't afford these,
no.
Is what we're trying to say. But the technology's there, and it's not going to be too many years before 15 terabytes in a laptop is a reality. I would say, I'm going to say 3 years, and 15 terabytes will not be that uncommon.
No, I agree with you.
Maybe even 2. Depends. But I think it's going to be, I'd say 3 years for a safe bet.
I think 3 years is a safe bet. I think it's going to be 5 years before we see it in mainstream stuff.
But I mean, we're hitting 1 terabyte already. It's not going to be long before we're seeing 5 terabyte drives on laptops that are actually, a fair price.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, and a terabyte now is going to cost you that $400 or $500 range. I mean, we'll be at 5 terabytes for under $1,000 within a year and a half.
Yeah, very likely. Yeah, very likely.
Which is nice. I mean, it's fantastic. We're getting to the point where storage doesn't really matter anymore because, 500 gigs. You can fill 500 gigs these days.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
A terabyte is a little bit tougher, but it's definitely possible. And it's just nice. It'll be nice. I'm looking forward to those days.
There you go. Well, anyhow, so that's available, or if you're into that space, or I mean, I'm sure you could probably talk to someone and get one of these ordered in for you. If you really wanted one. They are shipping, so I mean, they're completely available, but you may want to sit down when they tell you the price.
You may need a mortgage.
Yeah, you may. if you're shopping if you're shopping at Louis Vuitton in Vegas, if you got to ask the price, you can't afford it.
Well, that's one of these products. It's if you have to ask how much it is, you can't afford it. So that's why they didn't put a price.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ugh. Oh well, a guy can dream.
Oh yeah.
One thing that I'm kind of dreaming about that just sounds spectacular is Apple has patented a ring. They applied for a patent for a ring, wearable jewelry, and this is amazing. I'm really looking forward to this.
I can't wait. The iRing is going to be awesome.
It's going to be mind blowing, or not. But so I mean, everybody wants wearable technology. Wearable technology can be incredibly convenient. It can be absolutely fantastic for convenience and doing different things. But there comes a point where just because you can make something wearable doesn't mean you should. No. And I mean, the watch, honestly, the Apple Watch is a prime example of, and even most smartwatches are prime examples of, yes, we can do this, but really it's not serving a purpose. I mean, there are far more people wearing Fitbits than there are wearing other health tracking, like full-on smartwatches that health track, right? The reason is because, battery life. People don't demand a million features in a device. They want a few features that work great. And, so wearables that, as they exist aren't really, I mean, I don't know. It's not really the thing, but it's the thing that they can sell. So,
well, it's a flashy technology. It's a technology that you show off, and it's like, hey, look, I can draw pictures on my watch. And someone goes, hey, that's kind of cool. Like, why do you need to do that? And you go, I don't know, but I can.
Exactly.
It's one of those things. And so now, obviously, smartwatches are, I'm not going to say a big market, but there's definitely some money there. There's a lot of people who kind of want that new gadget. And so that's where smartwatches have done as well as they have. So definitely now smart jewelry is obviously kind of the next thing. It's like, well, how can we make jewelry that's smart? Something that's really small, but it's going to make your life easier. And apparently Apple thinks it's going to be the Ring. And so they have basically a patent where it's a ring with kind of a square that is touch sensitive. So I mean, I guess you could use it in a presentation or something like that, which
it's been done for years.
It's been done for years. I'm not sure what the whole reasoning it is, but apparently they're going to patent it anyways and then see what happens. So is it the next thing? Maybe. Is it just a patent to cover their bases? Probably. Yeah. I guess we'll see. The patent also refers to having a biometric sensor, NFC communication, gesture control, haptic feedback, and a microphone that is connected to the computer processor and voice input. So I guess, I don't know. There's going to be things that you could do that would be kind of cool. You can tell your watch like, hey, turn on the lights, and have it hooked up to your room. And there's lots of things. I guess even with the biometric sensor. I guess you could use it as a authentication device, NFC. I guess you can have your credit card linked to your Ring.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I like that.
Maybe it's more convenient than having an Apple Watch.
I think you're right. I think it's one of those things that they patent just because. Let's cover our bases here. Let's see where technology goes. Let's see if there will be any demand for this. Let's generate some buzz and see if there actually is buzz. If there's no buzz, then we just kind of back off. But
with all these devices, I mean, even with the Apple Watch, it's everyone's saying, well, it's well done. Like it works. Like it's it's kind of cool. But all of these are waiting for that killer app.
Yeah, exactly.
They're waiting for this one thing that is going to really just all of a sudden make it so it's like, I have to have a smartwatch because I need to have this functionality. And so far, nobody's really come up with that killer app. And that's really what the Apple Watch is lacking is it's the killer app. And all it's going to take is one thing. And I don't know what it is, but it's going to take one thing. And then all of a sudden, everybody's going to have a smartwatch. But right now, you don't really need a smartwatch.
No, you don't.
You can do just as well without one. So
you need a smart
yeah. So anyway, I guess we'll see what happens. It'll be it'll be a while before we see anything, and whether or not even Apple's interested in creating a piece of jewelry that can do, some sort of controlling of their phones or whatever. Who knows? There's other companies who've been making, smart rings for presentations. We've seen some of them. I've never really been impressed by any of them.
Yeah, well, none of them were made by Apple. That's what Apple's thinking, right?
Last year, there were a couple that had these smart rings, and you could use them for, controlling PowerPoint or whatever. And they're actually getting to the point that, it's not terrible. I remember, let's say 3 years ago, it was somebody was touting, the world's first, smart ring. And one of our reviewers got one. And he was like, this is going to be awesome. Like, could you believe it? It's going to be so great. This was the biggest ring I've ever seen. Like, those candy rings you get with it. It's got that big gem on top that it's a sucker or whatever. Like, the candy rings.
Yeah.
That's what it basically looked like. Like, it wasn't kind of like people wouldn't mistake it for just a piece of jewelry. It's what is on your finger? Why do you have a full mouse glued to your finger? And you're like, well, it's a smart ring, see?
It was a smaller mouse, to be honest, but it was still, size of a mouse.
And then I don't think it worked very well at all. And then the batteries died pretty much instantly. So they've come a long ways, and maybe Apple...
But that's exactly it. Where are you going to stuff a battery in a ring that's nice and small? Like, according to this rendering, we'll have a link in the show notes. This rendering looks amazing. Like, it looks... it looks like it would be about the same size as a ring that I currently wear a tungsten and, a tungsten ring. So it looks to be about that size according to the renderings. It ain't going to be that size.
No. Yeah, good luck fitting a battery into there.
Exactly.
Obviously, the charging is going to be an issue. It's going to have to be some sort of a...
wireless or pin dock or pogo pin.
Yeah, there's going to have to be something. Because remember, if it has a battery, it's going to need to be charged.
Yeah.
So now you get to charge your laptop, your iPhone, your iPad, your iWatch, and your iRing all at the same time. So
exactly.
That'll be great. You only need 6 outlets by the side of your bed.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Anyway, so I guess we'll see what happens. So basically these big companies just file a ton of patents, and one of the stats is last year Samsung filed 41,301 patents.
That's a bunch.
They've not last year. This was between 2010 and 2015. Samsung, for just wearable technology, has filed 41,000 patents. Qualcomm has filed 3%. So of all the wearable patents out there for wearable technology, Samsung accounts for 4% with 41,000. Qualcomm is sitting at 3%, and Apple 2.2%. So, basically everybody's kind of betting on the fact that wearable technology is going to be a big thing one day, and this seems to be one of the ones that Apple is taking a guess at. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but they'll file a patent anyways, and then someone else will probably make one of these, and then they'll get sued by Apple. And
exactly.
Yep.
Boom.
The lawyers win.
Exactly. Well, we'll keep on Apple here for another moment. It looks like Oculus is Palmer Luckey is the name of the guy who's kind of one of these the pioneers, the faces, or the brains behind Oculus, and they say they may consider Mac support down the road if, I quote, Apple ever releases a decent computer.
Good computer.
Good. I'm sorry.
Don't misquote him. So right now Oculus VR obviously does not work on Apple.
It will. They'll release a good computer one day. It'll work.
He's not closing the door, but as far as he was asked when they're going to have Mac support, and he said that's up to Apple. If they ever release a good computer, we will do it. Obviously, when you say something like that, you get some headlines. And,
that's the point, though, right?
The funny thing is, right now, a Mac Pro, $6,000 computer still doesn't have the recommended specs for an Oculus VR.
Yeah. So, I mean, those graphics in that 6000 Mac Pro are insane for 3D modeling. They're not game ready, right? No. They're not designed for gaming, which is what the Oculus needs. They need something more game-centric rather than just workstation-centric. So, I mean, Mac does have some pretty impressive specs and pretty impressive computers. They really do. I would love one here for my main workstation. I would be happy. I'd throw Windows on it. It would be great. However, you're still not gonna game on it.
And if you buy an Oculus VR, you're not going to be able to use it on your Mac. So I guess it'll be interesting to see if Apple. Well, actually, Apple doesn't care.
No, Apple doesn't care.
Until Apple makes their own VR headset, they don't care.
Exactly. And Apple probably, if that's the next big thing, or if it actually ever materializes as a real thing. And I know, yes, the HTC Vive sold 15,000 in the first 10 minutes, but I still don't think that VR is a big thing, or even really a viable thing.
No,
yet.
But I think it's kind of a flash in the pan for the time being. But
if it ever gets
once
there,
Apple makes one and it's the eye mask, then
the eye mask. There you go.
Yeah, because that's what it does. It's just a mask.
Exactly.
Goes over your eyes. See,
there
eye
you
mask.
Go.
Why not?
There you go.
I should probably go patent this.
You should go get the domain right now.
Eyemask.com.
All right. Oh, don't go there.
Yeah.
All right. Actually, iMask is available if you want it. Just FYI.
Not anymore.
I go to iMask and my antivirus pops up and says thread blocked. That's great.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, I'm
sorry.
Yeah, don't go to iMask without antivirus protection until Jason launches a site. Then
it'll be okay when I launch it.
Exactly. Next story. If we'll go on Microsoft here. Microsoft has been doing some interesting things with their Universal Windows applications, their UWA. We talked about last week, I guess it was. We talked a little bit about that and how they were going to be bringing gaming from, like, unifying the gaming platforms from Xbox to PC and even farther than that, right, to Windows phones down the road, to other Windows devices, to Microsoft devices, how easily that would work. And part of that UWA is going to be the Forza franchise. It's going to be on Windows 10 this spring. I like Forza. I'm excited about this.
Yeah, so it's their UWP, Universal Windows Platform, which is basically going to make it so that these guys can port games between the Xbox One and the PC with no issues. It's going to work. So that's a good thing. That's a lofty goal. So, I mean, that's the way it has to go. Obviously, consoles and PCs need to be able to communicate back and forth, because it's really silly when developers have to make a game and they have to make 4 different versions. One for Nintendo, one for Sony, one for Xbox, and then one for PCs. Obviously, that isn't. People aren't too happy about that, so Microsoft's trying to make it easier so that they can at least do it on PCs and Xbox, no problem. And one of those things will be the new Forza. That's going to be kind of one of the showpieces of just how easy it is and how well it works. And
it very well could. I'm hoping.
What's that?
I said it very well could work that easy and be that good.
Wow. Oh yeah. I think it will, and I think that's. I think really, as far as a gamer goes, you're going to buy it for one platform or the other. You don't really care if you can play it on PC and Xbox, but. As a PC gamer, you're going to appreciate this because now you're going to get console games way easier. And as a console gamer, you're going to appreciate it because you're going to get PC games way easier. So rather than having to have both devices, you can pick one and, stick with it. So I think that's a good thing.
That's a good thing. But like I said last week, and I think ultimately this is Epic Games' kind of their concern. Is the fact that they may dumb down PC games to the point where they're basically all controller related, right? And in that case too, Microsoft is pretty much dominating or monopolizing the gaming industry. If they say, okay, you want to make games,
and that's the biggest thing is Epic Games is saying, well, hey, wait a minute, this is basically monopolizing it. It's saying, you gotta design for Microsoft and you have to follow their rules. You can't go outside of the rules, and if you don't play by the rules, you can't be part of the club. So they're kind of saying, like, wait a minute, this could be bad down the road.
And it definitely could.
Well, it could be, especially when they start trying to if they ever try to start closing down the system. Right now, guys like Steam and everything take advantage of Windows, but one day Microsoft goes, you know what, we don't want that. We want to control it. Will they? It's hard to say. That's usually not really Microsoft's prerogative. They're usually Microsoft's been pretty open.
Yeah.
But the thing is, once everybody goes to a closed system, there is the potential that it could be a bad thing down the road.
Right.
So
the big
everyone's
question,
got a point, basically.
yeah, Tim Sweeney, his concern here too, and it's a completely legitimate concern. If they lock down the PC ecosystem, and with the Windows Universal Platform, I said UWA, you're right, definitely UWP. If they lock down this Universal Windows Platform, and if you are using that to create your games, which you're gonna almost, I mean, if you don't, I think you're gonna definitely lose a lot of market share. But if you do use the UWP, it will have to be sold through the Microsoft Store, right? So suddenly now you don't have other things, and you're locking down not just the gaming system, but you're also locking down the market, like where it can be distributed.
Cutting Steam out.
Yeah, well, you're cutting Steam out, but I mean, and you're cutting Origin out, and you're cutting these other companies.
Hey, nobody
out.
cares about Origin. So
well, that's true, but still, it's like there definitely is a lot of questions and a lot of concerns here. That I mean, if you can only get games through the Windows Store, are you going to buy as many games? My answer is no, because Steam is a great platform, great like social platform as well. They do even video streaming built in, so if you want to watch people and somebody wants to show you something cool right through Steam, now you can do that. And stuff comes on sale, these Steam sales, and Windows Store doesn't have like any of those features. So do I want to be buying stuff through the Windows Store exclusively? Heck no. Are they going to try and push that? Absolutely, because that's where you make money. So
well, yeah, and
when it comes down to marketing,
if you want to have it so you can port it between, the Xbox and PC with no effort, then you got to be part of our club,
and that's a problem.
It could be a problem for sure.
I think that's a problem because of the marketing situation thing too, and being exclusive. Now, do they want to completely lock it down and have total control of your development? No. But I believe they will want total control of sales, because ultimately that way they make money off of everybody, right? Not just their Microsoft games, but everybody's games.
Yeah.
And why would you not?
Well, and I mean, that's technically what Steam's doing. That's what Origin's doing, is basically they're trying to get everybody else to put their games in their market, and then they're the middleman. Everybody wants to be the middleman.
Right. Because
that's where you make the money, because you don't have any of the cost of making the game. You sell the game, you take your cut, and that's it. So Microsoft wants in on it, which obviously isn't a bad idea, because you see the money Steam's making. But Steam has done a pretty good job of it. They've done a really good job of marketing. They've done a good job of working with developers to make things affordable, make you buy more games, which is kind of makes you think that Microsoft might not be so nice to the gamers as Steam has been.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's going to be it'll be very interesting to see. And in the end, maybe people are going to say, no, it's not worth it. We'd rather just, stick to the PC platform or stick to the gaming consoles. We don't think the games really need to be ported back and forth. And there's a case to be made for that. There's games that are built for a console that are, stripped down. They have simpler controls, and that's a console game. Then there's games that have, are more intricate, more controls. You need a whole keyboard. You need, 80 buttons to control your person. Well, maybe those ones stay on PCs. And It's going to be interesting to see how studios approach this, whether they kind of try to make a middle-of-the-road game that works well on consoles and good on PCs, or do they just keep doing what they're doing? Because we've seen PC games be extremely popular, your League of Legends, Dotas, all those ones that are played on a keyboard. They have all the control. And then you've seen console games like Halo and everything that have done very well on console, but then they tried to port it over to the PC, and it's kind of stupid, because it's really quite a stripped down game in comparison to what PC gamers expect. Right.
According to Tim here, and he would obviously, I mean, he's developing, he knows what's going on. He says Microsoft's shiny new Universal Windows platform is locked down, and by default, it's impossible to download those apps from websites of publishers and developers to install them, update them, and conduct commerce in them outside of the Windows Store. It has to all be done through the Windows Store. But Tim offers a solution. He's not sitting there griping and saying, screw the UWP, screw Microsoft. That's not what he's saying. He says there's a solution here that any PC user can download and install a UWP application from the web, just as you can do with any Win32 application, any x86 app that you can get over download.com, anything, it needs to be able to be installed through that, not just through the Windows Store. And if you can do that, that's a huge way to do it that way, even for testing and rolling out. It doesn't have to be jacked through the Windows Store. Another solution is that any company can operate a store for Windows PC games and apps in this format, such as Valve, Good Old Games, Epic Games, EA, Ubisoft, with their current games as they exist. Windows will not impede or obstruct these app stores. And users, developers will always be free to engage in direct commerce with each other without Microsoft forcing everyone into its formative in-app commerce monopoly and taking their 30% cut. So, his concern is not just necessarily with development, but is in distribution and testing and playing around and just for convenience. The reality is I don't want to go download everything that I have through the Windows Store.
No.
And if that's the only way I can get games from now on, I'm probably going to try and find a physical copy at some GameStop or EB Games or something, because I don't want to have everything through there. But even then, it's like with some of these other games, you install them. Let's say Star Wars Battlefront. You install it, and all the updates still come through Origin, right? And that's what Microsoft wants to do. They want to control everything as far as distribution, update, and purchasing. And you can't blame them, but that's not a very open system either.
No, but it's also frustrating when you download a game. It's like, oh, you need the Epic Game Installer. Okay, great. I have to install this this other application just so I can play an Epic game. Oh, now you want to play an EA game? Oh, well, you got to get the Origin installer.
No, I agree with that too.
Okay, great. Oh, now you got this other one. Oh, sorry, that's the Steam installer. Like right now, all these companies suck. Like, they're all trying to do the same thing, and Epic Games is no different. They got the Epic Games launcher, and they're trying to protect their turf. And that's why his solution is basically, let us use the Universal Windows platform, but we don't want any restrictions. We don't want to have to give you a cut. We don't want to do anything to do it. And so we're gonna be at this bit of a standoff, because Microsoft's saying, hey, we'll build this platform that you can use, but we want to cut if you use it. And everyone else is going, well, we want to be able to do that, but we want it for free. And I don't know if there's necessarily going to be an easy solution.
Well, the solution is, there is a solution. Games that are sold through Steam, you don't have to buy them through Steam. You don't have to.
No.
Right? You can get them a lot of other places. Like, for instance, this goofy little game, it's a free game, T-Worlds. You can go download that from tworlds.com, or you can install it through Steam. Or you can download it from a torrent site or wherever you want. It's a free distributed game. You can download it wherever you want, install it, and it works. Right?
But there are games from Epic and EA that you have to use their installer. You have to use their Origin service. Otherwise, you can't play their game.
Right. And I don't know if Epic is going to be that way through all their stuff, but even...
Well, I know to play the Unreal Tournament demo,
right.
I had to install their whole crappy Epic Games launcher.
No, I realize that too. I know that.
Which is a piece of garbage.
I'm not defending them specifically. I'm saying that there is a lot of games that are distributed in multiple channels, and that's what Tim wants, is not through a single channel only.
But he's trying to protect his own interest. Because
absolutely,
he's basically trying to build the Microsoft Windows Store himself.
Right, but I bet you come down the road, you'll be able to go buy Unreal Tournament through Steam.
Maybe.
Well, you will, because you won't, because Unreal Tournament's it's going to be a free game, and you're going to pay for mods and stuff. So
yeah, but you're going to have to do it all through their Epic Games launcher platform.
Yeah, that one you will for their titles. Yeah. So yeah.
So basically, everybody's trying to do the same thing, but
nobody wants to share.
Nobody wants to share. Steam is going to be the most open platform, because basically, they'll let, the Humble Bundles and all these guys sell it, and they just give them a code to put into Steam. Now, I don't know if Steam necessarily gets much of a cut, or if anything, but these Origins and Epic Games, all these guys, they're all trying to build lockdown systems too.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
And so it's frustrating, because in the end, it's the gamers that are ended up going to be the ones that kind of get hosed the most. And as a small independent developer, basically you can't do a whole lot on your own anymore. You have to team up with one of these other guys and give them a cut. Now, whether it's you're gonna have to decide, do you want to give your cut to Microsoft? Do you want to give it to Steam? Do you want to give it to Epic? Do you want to give it to Origin? Like, it's really kind of a crappy deal for everybody. Yeah. Now, the only good part of this, UWP, is that they are trying to merge the PC and the console together to make it easier.
Yeah, for sure.
And maybe these other, the second tier developers, maybe it's worth it. Maybe it's worth it to give Microsoft their 30%, 20%, whatever percentage you can work out with them. Maybe it's worth it to give them to them in order to reach Xbox and PC, and not, now you don't have to give a cut to Steam or Epic or Origin. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. But as a gamer, you kind of hope Steam wins because they're pretty awesome.
They are. Yeah, they are.
In comparison to the competition.
Right. Last thing I will say about this, last thing today, is I believe that Epic's game system, I think that's just from looking at their stuff, and Blizzard does it with their Battle.net service as well.
Yeah.
That's just for their own stuff, right? They're not trying, like, Battle.net isn't trying to pull in non-Blizzard games. If it's made by Blizzard, you can get it through Battle.net.
Yeah, but why do I need to install another piece of software just so I can play your game?
No, I agree with that. I do agree with that completely. But I don't think Epic's trying to run their whole Windows store like with a bunch of stuff. I think they're just trying to market their stuff that they personally are developing rather than try and pull in everybody else's stuff.
Guess what? Work with everybody else, and it's easier for the end user.
It is, but then you miss out on those microtransactions yourself, right? And that's what everybody's concerned about.
Everybody wants the microtransactions, which, as a gamer, I hate microtransactions.
Oh, yeah. No, I totally hate them. Yes, I hate microtransactions.
I kind of hope against games that do microtransactions, but maybe that's not the right attitude to have. But
you're bitter.
Basically, it all comes down to that everybody's just trying to hose the end user as much as possible, but then they all point fingers when somebody else is doing it better.
Exactly.
And I think that's what it kind of comes down to is Epic's like, well, wait a minute, we want it. Epic would be all over this if they could do it for free, but they just don't want to have to pay for it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But anyways, this will be going on for quite a while.
Yeah. Last story of the day, Microsoft bought SwiftKey.
Hey, that's a good thing.
Is it?
Do you use SwiftKey?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Every day. But is it why does it matter that Microsoft buys it? I used to use SwiftKey daily.
Well, are you going to change just because Microsoft owns it?
No, I'm not. But I don't know. I guess Microsoft wanted. I mean, Microsoft has been doing a lot of their own apps available on other platforms. Microsoft actually has an amazing Android launcher. They're doing other stuff with Apple some, and now they go ahead and buy SwiftKey, which is interesting.
But just the data mining alone you can do, having your own keyboard.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that.
Oh, like this, sure, they got $250 million for a stupid keyboard application, but the data mining you can do.
Exactly.
You know the trends as they're happening because you know what everyone's typing.
Yeah, real time, right?
Yeah, which is a scary thing and really kind of crappy. But this is a good purchase for Microsoft. They're gonna be able to make this pay.
Yeah, of course.
Plus, now when you put it on your own Microsoft devices, you have an awesome keyboard integrated. You don't have to, it's which is really stupid. It's stupid. You get an Android phone and the first thing you have to do is go install a real keyboard on it.
I think the Android keyboard is more than adequate for most people. But once you use SwiftKey,
SwiftKey's way better.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. But for most people, like, oh yeah, it's great. It's a good keyboard. I like it better than the little micro, Apple one on their 4-inch screen or whatever. But then once you use SwiftKey, you're like, yeah, this is better.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. So, anyways, it's actually probably a pretty good it's probably a pretty good purchase for $250 million, which sounds like a ton. And whoever, the designers of this got paid big time, but
they did.
It's the data mining. It's the, they don't really care how good their keyboard is because what did they have now? What's it called? The one that Microsoft builds.
Oh, I don't know.
It's like WordFlow, I think is the name of theirs. Yeah. Everybody calls their keyboard something different. But, the thing the end users are going to see is now when you buy a Microsoft device, you buy a Surface device, it has SwiftKey technology built in, which is awesome.
It's got some name recognition out there.
It does, but they're data mining it.
Yeah, you bet they are. Of course, the article says here over at WinBeta that they're going to be using it to see their predictive technology adapt, because SwiftKey has amazing predictive technology, as well as their swipe keyboard, which it works great. So they're going to see what they can do with that, putting into Wordflow. The reality is they just want everybody's data. Let's be honest.
Yeah, they want to know what you're typing.
Exactly. Well, hey, what we typed this last week, we actually got a couple of reviews posted. One of those, of course, was the Rocket Cairo keyboard. This is actually a very, very solid keyboard. Or, sorry,
it's a mouse.
It's a mouse, yes. It's a very solid mouse. We typed about it on a different keyboard, and you can check out that review. This mouse is going to be 3D. They're going to release things for 3D printing, so you can like print your own side modules for this mouse. That's cool. So that review's up. Also, we did take a look at the Martian Alpha watch. This is a very cool smart watch. It's not super duper smart, but it's just the right amount of smarts to be useful and to give you great battery life. So make sure you check out those reviews and a whole lot more coming up over at bcchardware.com. Jason, thanks so much for doing this show here with me today. A little bit earlier recording, but it's fantastic. I appreciate it, sir.
We'll see you next week.
Have a great one.